Welcome to the Body Shop Physical Therapy. I'm Dr. Catherine Price, and in this video, I'm going to go over trigger point release of the iliopsoas muscle. So what is the iliopsoas muscle? It is made up of your psoas major, psoas minor, and the iliacus. It is a blended combination, and it's a hip flexor. It attaches to the lower lumbar spine. It's in the deep abdominal cavity and attaches on the front side of the discs, which are the cushion between the vertebrae, the bones in the low back. If you've got a disc injury, this muscle can be involved. If that muscle becomes tight, it can cause the back to be arched to increase the curve. A lumbar lordosis is what we call it. And that's where you have a sway back posture. It is going to lift your legs. So if you are repetitively running or lifting your hip, lifting your leg, that muscle is contracted in order to do that. It runs from those front part of those discs and attaches into the lesser trochanter, which is a bony prominence right on the inner part of your inner part of the thigh. So it is going to contract, flex the hip. The iliopsoas is made up of 3 muscles that are blended together: the psoas major, psoas minor, and the iliacus. And again, it is a culprit for low back pain. If you sit for long periods, that muscle shortens and becomes problematic. So we want to release the tension in that muscle and then stretch it. If you go to stretch it and you haven't released it, it can increase or provoke pain. So I find it really helpful to go in and release the hip flexor before trying to stretch that muscle. If your back is compressed, this muscle is beneficial to release so that you can then get more benefit from decompression exercises to help lengthen the muscle. So to do this, there are a number of tools that you can use, and I'm going to share my favorite tool to release the hip flexor. But an easy tool that you can use is going to be a single lacrosse ball. So to locate your iliopsoas, you want to find your belly button. And then you've got your rectus abdominal muscles. Those are going to attach to the rib cage down into the pubic bone. But if you go onto the side of that, basically the turtle shell, if you go to the side of your belly button, and you can start there and go deep back into the abdominal cavity, and that's going to release the upper portions of the psoas part of the iliopsoas muscle. So I'll take a single lacrosse ball and I'll start right in that region, lying on my stomach to apply body weight. And I want to lie completely flat. So I'll just lie onto that area and you can just hang out here. If I want to actively release the muscle, I'll pump that leg up and down. As long as it doesn't increase back pain, that just helps to actively release the iliopsoas or the psoas portion. Then I'll work my way down, and then the iliacus part, if you take your hand and find the front of your hip bone and go inside there, that's the iliacus. I'll take the lacrosse ball and come all the way to that bottom portion and then rest down onto that and then just pump my leg up and down here. And that will help me to release the trigger point and release the muscle. I do this for about 2 minutes so that I can mobilize both the fascia and get trigger point to release. And then I will stretch the muscle after I do the release. Now, Christine Koff, she's a physical therapist, and she developed a tool called the hip hook. And I have no association with any of their product, but I do like this as the best tool to release the hip flexor. And there's other tools out there to do this, but this is developed nicely to get into that hip flexor, the iliopsoas, to get an effective release. So if this is a problematic muscle, you're really active, or you know that it's a big culprit to your problems, this tool I find has been most effective in my practice and in my experience. So with that, what I'll do is I will go to those same areas, and to start with, just if I want to release my iliacus, I'm going to go right on the inside of that hip bone. So I'll take the hip hook and I'll just locate that there. And then I'm just going to go right over onto that area. And then this tool is nice because I can take that hook and I can use the lever arm and push down so that that hook then goes into the trigger points on that iliacus muscle, and I can just rest here and let my body release the tension in that fascia and muscle. So that is how I like to address releasing the trigger points, which are the overcontracted areas in the muscle, as well as the tension in the fascia, using both the single lacrosse ball and the hip hook just to release the trigger points. And as I am applying pressure here, if it is a culprit, sometimes you can feel the reproduction of either the low back pain, or sometimes you'll feel the back pain start to go away as the muscle releases. So those are things that you can look for. If you're getting any other symptoms or it doesn't feel right, then you want to stop doing the release and be assessed or have somebody help you with it. After I release my iliopsoas muscle, I then want to stretch it. There are a number of ways that you can stretch it. One way that I like to stretch is to just go into half kneel position and sink my hips down, slightly turning my knee out and in, just to get a good stretch through the hip flexor. But another way, so if you're not able to get onto the floor or it's more comfortable to stay off of the knee, you can be on the edge of a couch or you can be on your bed. And if I lie on my back, what I'll do is take the leg that I've just released, that hip flexor, and bring it down and let it just hang down off the edge of the couch, off the edge of the bed. You can even start to push that leg down so that you can get a stretch through the hip flexor while you bring your opposite leg up into your chest. And if you keep your back down, so you really try to engage your abdominals to hold your back down, you can further feel a stretch right through that hip flexor. So this is a way that you can approach the myofascial pain in your low back or in the front of the legs by doing the trigger point release of the hip flexor iliopsoas in the deep abdominal cavity. I hope this is of help and have a blessed day. Thank you.